Welcome to the Cedar Valley Podcast. Consider this your inside look at what makes our region special. We talk about everyday life here in the Cedar Valley, the voices speaking up for progress, the ideas shaping our future, and the partners investing in our success. We believe community is built one conversation at a time, and we've saved you a seat at the table. Hi, Morgan. Thank you so much for joining us on our podcast today.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are glad to have you. So, you work for Main Street Waterloo. Tell me a little bit about your organization.
Yeah, so Main Street Waterloo is a nationwide grassroots movement. We're focused on helping downtowns thrive and strengthen what makes us unique as Waterloo. We are an independent nonprofit, but we work closely with the city and city entities like Grow Cedar Valley to support a vibrant and welcoming downtown community. So we kind of turn our mission into action through public art and space activation. We help with business and building preservation and design resources, as well as hosting some pretty awesome events throughout downtown Waterloo. Our overall goal is to just champion pride in downtown Waterloo and make it a vibrant destination for everyone.
I love that. And I think what's cool about Main Street Waterloo specifically is you're a large downtown district. You guys are a
We
huge
are.
downtown district. And I think that's neat because you've got a variety of different types of buildings in your district. You have shopping, but you also have museums and the library and lots of office space. So you've got a lot of different organizations and entities to represent. So thanks for the work that you do. You talked a little bit about exciting events. Tell me a little bit about what you've got going on right now. What can people look forward to or get excited about in downtown Waterloo?
Yeah, there's so much going on right now, especially as we're getting into May and the summer months. So, of course, I want to give a shout out to our Main Street events. We have our Tour de Lou, which is a tour of historic buildings that have recently undergone or are undergoing some sort of renovation, and that will be on May 14th. May also is the kickoff to our Friday Lou Summer Concert Series, which we're really excited about, and that will start May 22nd. And I also just want to give a shout out to all of the other events happening in all of the businesses downtown who are really coming together. You know, whether that's spring merchandise happening or outdoor seating for restaurants and our bars downtown. It's just the perfect time to get out, explore the district, and enjoy the weather while you're doing it.
Absolutely. I am very much looking forward to patio season and being able to enjoy some time at some of the restaurants in downtown Waterloo. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what's your role at Main Street Waterloo.
Yes. So I got into Main Street a short amount of time ago, but I have already learned so much and gotten to explore so much of what the organization does and also just what the downtown district has to offer. So in my role, I do a lot of the events and marketing. And so I'm super pumped for event season to get going, as well as just being able to connect with the community. That's something I love doing and something in my role I'm excited to pursue more is what does the community want in terms of what we're presenting to the public in our marketing and our events.
That's fantastic. Are you a native of the Cedar Valley, Morgan?
I am not. I came here, I went to UNI. So after graduation, I just kind of fell in love with it and wanted to stick around in the Cedar Valley. And that's how I ended up where I am.
Well, we love those stories here at Grow Cedar Valley. So thank you for choosing the Cedar Valley as your home after college. Morgan, as you know, I am talking with Zach Hansen today. Zach is a member of our Cedar Valley Young Professionals Advisory Council, and he also is a member of the Main Street Waterloo Board. Can you tell me a little bit about his role on the board at Main Street Waterloo?
Of course. So one of Zach's major roles with us is that he is the chair of our Economic Vitality Council. That council works to kind of identify market opportunities in our commercial spaces downtown. So it's business recruitment as well as kind of some of that retention. What businesses are a good investment in downtown? Who do we want to recruit? As well as how do we keep our existing businesses strong and thriving businesses, really.
I understand you have a question for Zach too that you want us to ask when I talk to him later today. So, what is your question for Zach Hansen?
Yeah, Zach, I would like to know what excites you the most about what's happening in downtown Waterloo right now.
Oh, I love that. I'll be excited to hear what Zach has to say later today. Well, thank you, Morgan, so much for your time. And thank you for the great work that you and Jessica Rucker are doing for Main Street Waterloo. We appreciate you. You're a great partner for Grow Cedar Valley. And we look forward to working on the next project with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, as always.
This is Katy Susong. Welcome to the table. Well, Zach Hansen, welcome to the Cedar Valley Podcast. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your afternoon with us. We're excited to have you here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I know it's a pretty new podcast, so
It is.
happy to be one of the earlier ones on it, so really appreciate that. A little bit about me. Cedar Valley native, born and raised Waverly, Iowa. Graduated there in 2014, went off to Iowa State for a few years, got my degree in architecture, and then my wife and I just boomeranged on back, put down roots here in Waterloo, and yeah, that's
Awesome.
a little history.
Is your wife from the Cedar Valley?
She's from Denver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So both of you stayed. That's fantastic. We love hearing those stories. So tell me a little bit about why the Cedar Valley. So as an architect, you could have gone really anywhere. So why did you choose to come back here?
Well, I'll tell you, it initially started with just family, right? We wanted to be close to family. But as I've stayed here, realized more and more what the Cedar Valley has to offer. And a big piece of that is the community. Just no matter where I've gotten involved, whether it be work, whether it be community organizations, anything else, people have been a resounding support for us. We try to return the favor as much as we can too, but I don't think we would have gotten that same kind of outpouring into us and our little family that we would have if we went to Denver, Colorado.
Sure.
You know, I feel like the big cities, you have a lot of people, but you don't have a lot of close people, versus here in Northeast Iowa, a lot of close people.
So as a young professional here in the Cedar Valley, do you feel like you have more opportunities to engage as a young professional than you would if you were in other places?
Absolutely. I think that's where I'm driving at with that support too.
Yeah.
The opportunities that I've been given straight out of college, you know, coming in as a 23 huge ego, think I know everything, hot shot, which was not the case. It was just the fallacy I
We
built
all
in my
go
own
through
head.
it. It's okay.
You know, coming in and like that with that big ego and still having people go, okay, let's give him a shot. You know,
Sure.
he's not all he's cracking himself up to be, but we'll still humor him.
No.
I think is something that you know, Cedar Valley does that not a lot of other places
Yeah.
would do.
No, I love that. And you've proven yourself by being engaged. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I think it matters when you continue to show up and you continue to engage with your time and resources. That makes a big difference. So you and I have known each other for a while, but got to know each other better through the Cedar Valley Young Professionals. So you have been on the advisory council of CVYP, which is a part of Grow Cedar Valley, really since it started. So talk to me a little bit about CVYP.
Yeah, so got kicked off under Grow Cedar Valley. It's been about a year and a half now that the advisory council's been on. And so that really came about by Don and Tom approaching me, and then I think we had some conversations, and it sounded just like a great way to get people more involved. You know, I think I've seen a gap in some young professional advocacy and getting specifically my generation involved within volunteerism and other groups, and I think through Grow Cedar Valley and CVYP, we've been really able to address that. You know, I think our membership's up to, last I checked, 109 members. In just under a year. So really pulling people into that community and getting connected, and we're still striving to do even more of that, I think is a really powerful tool.
Yeah, it's a good group. And to that point, I think the fact that there are so many people that have joined within a short period of time really speaks to the demand for a group just like CVYP. What's been your favorite part of CVYP?
Getting to know everybody. A lot of the people on the advisory committee I had already known from a few different volunteerism groups. people within the actual CVYP itself that have attended our events and have joined with memberships. Just some excellent people that were really just looking for a resource. And they're doing some great things of their own. You know, we got some people that are 26, 27 years old starting their own businesses right here in the Cedar Valley within that group. People that are really moving and shaking and going to be the next really leaders of the area. So proud to know them.
Yeah, it's a good group to be a part of. And really, I think what I've appreciated about CVYP is you can be a young entrepreneur, you can be in a profession, an attorney, an architect, you can work in manufacturing. There's really not a preconceived set of expectations around what it takes to be in CVYP, other than we're looking for people who are young in their career, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can make a name for themselves here as long as they have the work ethic to do so.
Yeah. So come one, come all, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So you've been involved in helping develop a lot of the different programming that happens in CVYP. And sometimes I think people think CVYP, they think networking, but it's a lot more than that. Can you tell me a little bit about what is involved and what's your favorite part?
Yeah, beyond the networking, I think some of the great things that CVYP has to offer is a lot of growth opportunities. One of my favorites being the Wake Up YP. That's where we have local leaders that are more advanced in their career come in and talk to us about how they got from point A to point B, you know, what things we can be looking out for as YPs, what advice they have. And I have picked up on some insight from every single one of those. So that's been really great. I think the other thing that we've just been starting out doing that I'm enjoying is the wellness hour. So looking forward to doing some of the pickleball out there, as well as what we have planned out at Big Woods. So those will both be really fun. But with that, you know, and the networking piece, each one of those I think just grows community more and more. Every time we can spend an hour just engaging with our peers, or learning together, or maybe sparking some growth and business opportunities of our own within those. It's always a benefit to each one of us.
Fantastic. Are you a pickleball fan? Have you played
Love
before?
pickleball.
Okay.
I'm not very good, but I love it.
Are there lots of opportunities to play pickleball here in the Cedar Valley?
I think so, and I think they're growing. It seems like people have really latched onto it. And I think, isn't there an organization here in TechWorks
There sure
that is pretty big on pickleball?
There's a lot of organizations here in town that are big on pickleball. I have not played myself. I am a little bit of a klutz, and so I'm a little bit nervous about what would happen if I really got into because I'm also very competitive, and those two things do not play well together.
So just getting an advanced partner when you'd still be going after it hard.
Yes, as if I had played professional pickleball my entire life. So you talked a little bit about the fact that you had met some of the people on the CVYP Advisory Council through other volunteer opportunities. You volunteer a lot, Zach.
I like to.
That's good. That's good. So tell me a little bit about what you're involved in right now.
Yeah, right now, it's the Goodwill Board of Directors, Main Street Waterloo, obviously Cedar Valley Young Professionals, and then I'm gearing up for the Blackhawk County Gaming Association. We're getting through all the paperwork on that one, and then should start up in June there.
That's fantastic. And volunteering, I also believe in the importance of volunteering and giving back. But tell me, what is it about volunteering that compels you to keep doing it? Why do you keep saying yes?
This is going to go maybe a little bit deeper than the question asked, but okay. I have a set of core principles. There's 4 of them. So the first one is I'm a Christian. Second is I'm honest. Third is I'm a man of my word. Those seem to overlap quite a bit, but I leave them separate for my own personal reasons. Sure. And then finally, the 4th one is a good steward. So if something's given to me, I am going to hold it dearly, and I'm going to do the best with it that I can. And I treat my community the same way. I believe that if you are involved in something, and I think we're all involved in our communities, you can be a giver or you can be a taker. I don't believe there's a net neutral, and I would rather be on the giving side of that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great, succinct answer. And I really love that you have core values for yourself, things that really kind of dictate or guide your behaviors, and all of those sound great. But I really appreciate your kind of understanding of the importance of giving back. I think that is something that so often it gets lost, right? We hear about people being busy and having a lot of things to do, and that is certainly the case. We're all busy. But I think it is so important that we set aside time to give back when we've been given so much. So I really appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the busy thing. I think I was talking to Star Roof over at Goodwill.
Oh, sure.
And she always says, if you need something done, ask a busy person.
I love that. They'll figure it out. They'll get it done. That is for sure. So I want to circle back to one of your specific volunteer opportunities, and it's the Main Street Waterloo Board. Mm-hmm. You serve as the chair of the Economic Vitality Committee.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so I'm going to back up a little higher level,
Okay.
just to give an overview of what Main Street is and kind of the different committees.
Sure.
So Main Street Waterloo is an organization within Waterloo, focuses on downtown area. So it's not just 4th Street, it's the entire downtown. It has, some upper level branches, Main Street Iowa and then Main Street America, but we're really focused on the local downtown Waterloo. Within that, we have 4 different councils. We have the Organization Council, which really focuses on how the organizations run. We have the Design Council, which focuses on the signage in downtown and the beautification of downtown, any artwork that may go on. We have the Economic Vitality Council, and that is really focused on the businesses in downtown, making sure that they're doing well, providing guidance where we can and providing support where we can. And for the 4th one, we have promotions, which is essentially marketing of the downtown and the events that we put
Sure.
on. So any of the Friday Loos is very much the promotions council.
Okay.
So Economic vitality, big piece of what we're doing is communication with the businesses. We're going in, talking with them individually, doing surveys, providing grants, a golf tournament coming up, shout out there. So a lot of that is just to support the downtown area.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit about your experience as an architect and how that informs your experience with Main Street Waterloo.
Yeah, architecture, I'd say, is something that you look at systems. So when you're designing a building, you're going through and you're looking at all the different building systems. You know, you have structure, you have the actual building design itself, that's the architecture part, right? You have mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and you're tying all that together. And so it's really the ability to kind of look at the whole and then piece it down into a system that we can tackle into digestible parts. So that's kind of the same way I look at a lot of things, specifically Main Street, when we were going through and talking about, okay, well, we want to do something that's going to impact downtown and provide more for the businesses than what we had. So we started up the Downtown Impact Grant. So then the next step was, well, how do we fund this thing? So we started the golf tournament. And all of this is rolled into Gray Lane Yoga, putting in their aerial and bungee yoga, TriPie getting a refrigerated van so they can run pies around, Ari's putting in snow globes so we can get more outdoor life into the city. So it's a lot of just looking at the holistic system and seeing how we can get from point A to point B.
Yeah. I appreciate that perspective. So earlier today, I had a chance to talk to Morgan, the newest team member at Main Street Waterloo, and she has a question for you. She wants to know what most excites you about the work that's happening in downtown Waterloo.
I'd have to say it's the people that are affected by our work. You know, we get to see all those new businesses coming into downtown and the work they're doing. Recently, you know, we've gotten Studio 13 coming in. We've got Gino's Pizza that's opening up. We've got the Grow Room, of course, Bootleggers, all these businesses that are making our downtown a vibrant place to be where you can live, work, and play. I think that's the most exciting for me.
Yes, I appreciate that. That aligns with the work we do here at Cedar Valley. So anything we can do in the collective effort to make this community a better place to call home, all for that. We have talked about the fact that you like to volunteer. We've talked about the fact that you're an architect. We haven't talked about where you actually work. So tell me a little bit about your place of employment.
So I work at Woodruff Construction as a pre-construction manager. And that was a bit of a career transition about 1.5 years ago. Prior to that, I'd been in an architecture firm and had this opportunity come along and kind of jumped on it. And it really allows me to be more of a translator. So a lot of people speak English and Spanish and French and a whole bunch of other language, but not a lot of people speak contractor and not a lot of people speak architect. So I really provide that bridge where I can say, this is what the architect's thinking. We can then translate that into actual costs and constructability review over at Woodruff, rather than second guessing some things and having to go get change orders later. We get ahead of it.
Volunteering as much as you do takes a lot of time. Can you talk to me a little bit about your employment experience and how that works in terms of their culture and your personal beliefs for how you get out and give back to the community?
Yeah, it's always an interview question for me. When I'm going into the role, it's a question of, I love to be involved with my community. I'm gonna need the support to do that. Are you able to accommodate that? So I start there with my employers, and to both the employers I've had in Waterloo, Envision, and then now Woodruff, they've both been very accommodating and supportive of that role in the community.
That's fantastic. Zach, one thing that I like to ask people as part of these conversations is I want to understand, what are your favorite things about the Cedar Valley? So if you could give me one thing that you love about this community, what would it be?
Golf courses per capita.
Awesome. Yes.
Just amazing. We have 5 in Waterloo. We got another 2.5 if Alto Ridge, we'll give it a half. In Cedar Falls. So many golf courses. Like, if I can't get a tee time somewhere, I can find one somewhere else.
I love
within
that.
10 minutes.
That's a great answer. Any information you want to share with people that might be listening that are YPs, that are looking to get engaged? Anything you want to share with them? Or businesses that are considering sending some of their team members to be a part of YP?
Yeah, I think, your future is up to you. If you want connections, if you want resilience, or if you want friends in the community, all of that is up to you. And you got to start somewhere. For a lot of people, that could be CVYP. For others, it could be as simple as asking for a promotion or having those difficult conversations. You're in charge of your life, and you have people here to support you through it. Ask them to support.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thought to end on. So Zach Hansen, thank you so much for joining us on the Cedar Valley Podcast. We really appreciate your time and your perspective as a young professional, quite frankly, as a professional in this community. So thanks for all you do.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining the conversation. More stories, updates, and voices from across the Cedar Valley coming your way. Stay tuned for the next episode.